A very good afternoon to one and all present over here. I would like to invite you all for the ServiceDesk Plus Cloud Masterclass Edition, Episode 4. And today we'll be looking into on how we can streamline critical ITSM practices with no-code, low-code automations. My name is Kishore, and I'm a product expert from the product support team of ServiceDesk Plus Cloud. Just a quick idea on what we are going to look in on this particular episode of this masterclass is that we'll be configuring some basic automation capabilities such as business rules or maybe the SLAs. And then we'll also be looking into on how you can effectively manage your tasks and resources. And we'll also look into the basic capabilities of the custom functions that is available in Service Desk Plus Cloud. At the last, we will also be looking into the single touch automation using the Zoho circuit, and let's see how it goes. The edition that is going to be used for this particular session, for this particular episode, is going to be the enterprise edition of Service Desk Plus Cloud. As you already know, there are three types of editions that are available in Service Desk Plus, be it standard, professional, and enterprise. And for this session, we are going to use the full suite, which is going to be the enterprise edition. Adding on to this, you have a very good chance for registering for a free consultation program, a one-on-one consultation program, which is going to be a quick health check for your instance that you already have. Please make use of this to schedule a session with one of the product experts from Service Desk Plus so that you can see on how well your organization has adopted to the product. I'll give you guys a minute so that you can scan and you can register for this as well. Let's jump on to today's session. And for today's session, we are going to take up a fictitious organization called as Zilker. And to give a background about Zilker is a rapidly growing music streaming company, and it's currently a small scale company, which is becoming a huge company now. And it's having its global footprint on many regions, and not just regions, on many continents as well. So Zilker's operations were fine when it was a small company, but due to the scale of operations getting bigger day by day, Zilker's IT team was suddenly overburdened and their productivity also took a hit. So some of the challenges that Zilker faced was that they were unable to give a clear service delivery expectation, and manual updation of tickets by technicians also took up a lot of times for the technicians, which did not make the lives of the technicians easier. The administrators were also not efficient in proper resource and task management. Also, they were not being notified for the standardized stakeholder notifications also. And these are some areas that Service Desk Plus Cloud could have helped Zilker make the best out of the situation. So first up on the automations part, let's see what service level agreements are. So service level agreements are nothing but giving a specified set of service delivery expectations for the technicians, so that when an expectation is set for the technicians, they will make sure that the particular work is done at that particular time, and not just with setting up the time frame. We can also have escalation matrices based on the response and resolution times of a request. Let's see how we can create a quick SLA on how. The view that you're seeing is my Service Desk Plus Cloud application. And in order to create a service level agreement, click on the setup at the top right. And under automation, you should see service level agreements. So service level agreements are not just defined as incidents or service request SLAs. It is also defined based on the sites. Since Zilker's organization was having a global footprint now, multiple regions can have multiple SLAs. Some might have a short SLA and some might have a long SLA. So everything can be configured based on the site in which the particular entity is present at. Let's see how we can create an SLA for the ANZ site and for the incident requests. I click on new SLA, And then here I can quickly give a name for this SLA. Let me give it as high priority. And then if required, I can give a quick description. And this is where the conditions come into place. So the SLAs are going to get affected based on the conditions that is going to be set over here. For instance, as of now, let me take in case if a priority is high, then I want the technician to respond within 2 hours of time, and and the technician will have to make sure that it is resolved within 6 hours of time. So that is how you configure your response and resolution time. And adding on to this, you can also factor in your operational hours and your holidays also on these SLAs. This will make sure that the service level expectations are set only for the business hours of your organization. And this is how you create a service level agreement. Now let's see how you can factor in the response time escalation and resolution time escalation. For response time, you can have up to one level of escalation, and for resolution time, you can have four levels of escalations. Let's see how we can configure an escalation matrix. I can just simply select on this particular checkbox, and then I will get an option to escalate if it needs to be done after or before the time that is specified on the specific area. You can specify which user it needs to be escalated to, and you can also select if a notification needs to be sent to any specific users, or if a quick field update needs to be done on it. And that is how you configure an escalation matrix within a particular service level agreements. The same can be replicated for the resolution time, and the same SLA type can also be replicated for the service requests also. And that is how you create a service level agreement. Next to that comes the business tools. Business tools help organizations and makes the lives of the technicians easier by automating and updating basic field parameters so that the technicians need not have to waste their time on updating field parameters. And updating these field parameters will also help the administrators while they are taking the end year audit reports also. Let's see how we can create a business tool. Under setup, you should see the automations. It's loading up a bit. Let me quickly do a refresh. And under automation, you should see business tools. When I click on business tool, like how we were able to factor in the sites for the service level agreements, the business tools are also going to be based on the sites. So you can select which site in which you're going to create the business tool for, and you can go ahead and create a business tool. I'm going to click on new business tool. And now I can give a quick name to this business tool. Let me update the category with this business tool. If there is a description that is required, I can give it over here. I can select when this particular request needs to get applied to and to where it needs to get applied for. It can either be requests or tasks, and the request can be executed whether it's being created, edited, or even deleted. Like how we were able to factor in the operational hours for the SLAs, we'll also be able to do it for the business tools also. Now it's time we enter the conditions. Let's take a scenario in case whenever an email request or maybe a request that was created from the portal comes in with a subject containing email issue, automatically I would require the field, which is going to be the category, needs to be updated as network. And that is how you create a business tool to update a particular field on a business tool. So this is how you can create business tools by based on conditions. You can update basic ticketing parameters, and that would really help the technicians on saving a lot of time in updating these requests. Next is going to be the task and resource management. So when Zilker's organization became bigger day by day, the task and resource management was not up to the mark. The administrators were not notified of the leaves that were taken by the technicians. They did not delegate any of the works that the technician was supposed to do on that particular day. As their service level agreements took a hit, a lot of KPIs took a hit, and for that reason, Service Desk Plus Cloud could have helped the Zilker organization to manage their workloads with the help of the technician availability charts. I click on Home, and under Home, I will have the technician availability chart. So here, all the technicians will be able to mark themselves as unavailable whenever they are going to take up a leave. They can select what type of an unavailability that they are going to take, and I'll also be able to select the duration through which the unavailability is available for, and I can click on Save. And once I click on Save, the user will be notified that this particular user is on leave and no works will be assigned to that particular user. And the administrators will also have the option to manage their workload without that particular user. Okay, so this user is on leave now. What happens to the works that was already assigned to him, or maybe any approvals that was assigned to him? It would be better if we can have a delegation feature, right? So Service Desk Plus Cloud also offers a delegation feature wherein when a technician goes on leave, they can delegate their works to their fellow technicians and they can take care of their own requests. In order to first enable the delegation feature, click on Setup, and under Setup, go to Automations, and under Automations, you will have Delegation. So you can use this checkbox to enable the delegations, and you can make sure to select the specified options as per your requirements, and you can also allow the technicians and requesters to set up their own delegation for their unavailability. So now I have marked myself as absent on that particular day, and now I'm going to configure a delegation. And since I'm an administrator, all the delegations that has been configured and which is active will be listed out to me over here, and the expired ones will also be listed out at the left hand side of the screen. So let me quickly click on new delegation. I can select which technician is going to take up my place and make sure that he does all the work for me. I can select the leave availability, unavailability also over here, the duration, and you will also be able to select the delegate request ownership and on delegating approvals also. And that's how you configure a delegation. This would certainly help the administrators to manage their workloads so that they'll be able to factor in which user is present and not present, and they can diverse their work that was allotted for that day. And next comes the technician auto assign. Zilker was able to optimize the assignment of tickets to available technicians based on who was available on that particular day and on some specific models, be it the round robin or load balancing, or they also made use of the artificial intelligence, which is our very own Zia, for assigning the requests so that all the technicians will have equal number of requests when they are working on it. Let us see how and where we'll be able to configure the technician auto assign. So let me quickly close the pop-up, and under setup and under automation, you should see technician auto assign. So this technician auto assign would work on both incidents as well as service requests. You will also have an option to select what type of a model do you want to have on your instance. It can either be round robin, load balancing, or maybe, as I told you, the artificial intelligence Zia will be able to assign it to the technicians. You can also factor in when the request needs to be auto assigned and on what type of request, be it an unassigned request or if it needs to act for all the requests also. At the bottom, you should see an exclude option also. So there can be some level 3 technicians who need not have to be assigned with basic requests. Instead, they are your escalation technicians who would just need to act upon specific tickets. And those technicians can be added over here so that the technicians specified over here will not be assigned any requests during the technician auto assignment model. Adding on to that, there can also be some specific requests which should not be assigned to the technicians, and in that case you can specify the condition over here so that those specific requests are not going to be assigned to the technicians. And that is how you will be able to configure your technician auto assignment model. And next comes one no code, low code automation part, which is the custom functions. So the custom functions would help you to do various types of custom actions within the application, which cannot be done with the basic set of options that are available in the application. So it is a script based action wherein you'll be scripting on the Zoho Deluge language, and with the help of the script builder, you can create specific custom functions so that you can have different types of custom actions. Let us see how you can build up your custom functions. You can click on setup, and under setup, you can see automation, and under automation, you can see custom actions. I'm clicking on it and I'm going to the custom functions. So this is where we'll be able to build the custom function. Let me click on new custom function. So this is where you can start scripting on the Zoho Deluge language so that you can build your custom functions. So you can use any of the variables that you see at the left-hand side on the screen, and you can start scripting on it. In case if you're not that good on scripting language, not to worry, we also do have an assistance with our very own AI agent, the Zia code generator. So here we'll be able to put up a prompt and we can get the skeleton of that specific code, which you can make minor changes to it, and then you can make use of that code on your production environment. Let us quickly see on how this works. Let me try to give a prompt to it and let's see how the code is going to work out for it. Let's take it as would need. Okay. Let's copy an additional field value from one field to another, and let's see what is the custom function code for that. Need to copy the value of an additional field from one additional field to another. Let me click on generate. And when I clicked on generate, now I did get a skeleton of the code that I can make use of. So some basic details, the additional field 1 over here and the additional field 2 over here. These are all the field keys that you will have to replace with, and you can make the minor changes and make use of it on your particular instance. So just letting you know on it, please make sure to review the code before taking it into your production environment. So it's always better to give it a test before going ahead on the production environment. So this is how you create a custom functions. A lot of actions can be done on it. Maybe if you want to create a problem from a request, or maybe create a project from a request, any use cases that you have, we'll be able to help you out, and we can help you build a custom function also, and on achieving that also. And that is how you create a custom function. So next comes the notification rules and the closure rules. So Zilker took a hit when they were not able to notify specific stakeholders on important tickets, and that led to a lot of confusion between the higher party stakeholders. Let's see how you can configure basic notifications. And for that, click on the setup, go to automation, and under automation, you should have notification rules. And this is where you can enable each and every notifications with just a simple click. If you see, you can see the The first notification depicts as notify requester when a new request is created. And if I want to enable this specific notification, with just a simple click, I should be able to enable it. And in case if you want to customize the template, the email that is being sent to that user, you can right away click on the pencil icon that you see over here, and you should be able to configure this completely as per your requirements. You can edit the subject of it, add in various variables to it, and those variables are going to fetch values from the requests, and you can do anything as of it. And just letting you know on it, the notifications are not just in specific with the email notifications. We now do also have the SMS notification and also the push notifications in case if you're using the mobile application. The latest enhancement is that you will also be able to send out Microsoft Teams notifications also on it. So these notifications can be enabled with just a simple checkbox tick and by saving the page. The notifications are not just extended for the request module, but for all the modules, be it a problem, change, project, release, any module, you do have a set of predefined notifications that you can make use of, and you will be able to enable those notifications. Next comes the closure rules. So these closure rules would help you on making the technicians to update important field parameters so that on your year-end reportings, you will have a complete data for all the fields that you would want on the reports. For example, in case if you do not wish to allow your technicians to close a request without filling out the request type, then that's when you make use of the closure rules. I can come in over here, I can select what are all the details that I would want on the closure rules, and I can also scroll down and I can save it. One more option that is available on this particular closure rule is that there can be a manual request closure process, and there can also be an automated request closure process. Automated request closure process is nothing but in case if you do not allow your technicians to close the request, rather allow them to resolve the request, you can allow the technicians to resolve the request, and by using the closure rules, automatically you can close the resolved request after a specified number of days, and that can be configured over here. And on top of that, in case if you are making use of the tasks and checklists on your requests, and if you want to close the request when all the associated tasks and checklists are completed, that can also be done with the help of this closure rules. So this is how you can leverage the closure rules so that your year-end reportings would be sorted. Now, we did see a lot of automation capabilities here and there. So one more area that we would like to show you is the triggers. So under triggers, you can do various types of custom actions. So this trigger is like how you were able to configure a business tool, but when you go to the custom actions over here, you will have a lot of other actions on top of the ones that you have on the business tools. So you can customly invoke a notification, you can send out an approval based on the conditions of a request, or also initiate a timer, add a task, or the custom functions that we built previously on the session can also be executed from the triggers itself. Adding on to this, in case if you want to post a notification, post a call on another application, then you can make use of the webhook also. At the bottom, you see something called as execute circuit. Let's come back a little while later on this session so that we can see on when this particular execute circuit is being used for. So as of now, we have seen a lot of automation capabilities, basic no-code, low-code automation capabilities on this session. And before we could jump on to Zoho Circuit, our single-touch automation workflow executor, before going to that, let's see how the automations that we saw as of now looks on the production environment. Let's see how it looks like when we create a request and on how these are going to take effect. Let me quickly go ahead. I'll try to create a request. I'm clicking on new incident. I'm going to the requester name. Let me quickly enter the name over here. And many assets that needs to be added over here. The request, let's leave out the request type and see how the closure rules are taking into place for this. If there are any CIs that are involved, impact, urgency, priorities, I'll not be able to select based on an automation. Let me see. So here, the subject. We did create a business role, and on the business role, we did have the subject as a condition. Let's try to match that particular condition. And now I go ahead and click on add request. So I've not entered any category, I've not set as an SLA, I've not set the priority, but let's see how the automations did work. When I click on details tab, so as soon as this particular request was created, automatically the priority was set to high, the category was set to network, and the SLA was also set up as high priority SLA. So these types of automations would help you on editing these types of ticketing parameters, which makes the lives of the technicians easier. So we did see the business rules and SLAs acting upon over here. Let's see how the notifications went into place. By clicking on auto notifications, it's just a filter button wherein when you click on it, you'll be able to see what are all the notifications that was sent for this particular request. And now, yeah, I see that there are 3 notifications that are being sent to this particular request. And on top of this, let's now see how the closure rules also took into place. Let me go ahead. Let me try to close this request. Keep it in mind that I have not updated the request type also. When I clicked on to close the request, automatically I get a pop-up and the request type becomes a mandatory field stating that I will have to create, I will have to enter the value for the request type also. I'm clicking on save and the request is now closed. So these are some various automations that we did see on the session right now, but I believe we missed out one spot. We did miss out on the custom functions area, right? We didn't see any custom functions played over here. When it comes to an email issue, it cannot just be one user who can be facing that issue. It can also be a potential problem. Let me quickly refresh that page. Let me see what happened on this particular request. And automatically, when this particular request was closed, a problem was automatically created based on the field values that were present on the request. So this is where the custom function came into place, and when a request with specific conditions was closed, automatically we were able to create a problem from the request itself. And that's how you execute a custom function. A low code automation capability that you will be able to make it with just a simple click. So that is how the automations can be taken into consideration for ServiceDesk Plus Cloud. Now, the last point is going to be the Zoho circuits. How Zilker leveraged Zoho circuits. So give you a quick idea on what Zoho circuit is. Zoho circuit is our single touch automation executor. And this Zoho circuit allows you to not just perform actions within the Service Desk Plus Cloud application, but it will also allow you to make actions outside your Service Desk Plus Cloud application. Be it any other application, be it a cloud solution, or maybe even an on-premise solution, we'll be able to connect it with the help of Zoho Circuit. To give you an idea, or maybe to give you a use case on where this particular Zoho Circuit is being used as. For example, let's take the scenario of a user who is going to be onboarded to your organization. What would you do when a user is being onboarded to an organization? First up, we'll have to create an AD account for him on your Active Directory, and you'll have to assign an email address to him. You'll have to give him any specific set of assets that needs to be assigned to that particular user. Make sure that that user has a particular user principal name so that he can have single sign-on enabled on all of the applications that you use. And also, maybe if you want to create a profile for him in Service Desk Plus Cloud also, and come back to the request, close out the request, this is possible with the help of Zoho circuits. So let us see how you will be able to create or maybe make use of the Zoho circuits in Service Desk Plus Cloud. So in order to enable the Zoho circuits, first click on Setup, and under Setup, under Apps and Add-ons, you should have Integrations. And under Integrations, you should see Zoho Integrations. And by enabling this option, you should enable the Zoho circuits. So once Zoho circuit is enabled, you can go back to the setup, and under setup, you will get an entirely specific set of instructions and configurations area for the Zoho circuits. I'm clicking on Zoho circuits. Just to give you, so since we talked about the employee onboarding scenario, let's see how the particular circuit is going to look like. So you see this particular play area wherein you will be able to configure the specific set of uh, circuits in the application. So when this circuit, so to give you an idea on what this particular circuit is doing, is that first it's going to create an MS365 account, update the email ID on the request, and then it's going to perform multiple actions simultaneously on the same request. It's going to check for a location, add the user to a security group, or maybe add the user as a member of the Teams channel, create a Zoho CRM account, an MDM account. A lot of simultaneous actions can be taken place with the execution of this particular Zoho circuit. And the cherry on the top of ice, all of these can be done without any manual intervention. Everything can be done as an automated process. And at the last, we will also be able to post a note on the request on what are all the actions that were done for this particular request. Let's see how we can build on it. And there are two ways in which you can build your circuits. Let me quickly go back once. Taking up a little bit of time to refresh. Meanwhile, just give me a minute. Let me quickly grab some water. Yes. And now I click on New Circuit. And I click on Save. With that. So now I've been given this play area, and there are two views in which where you'll be able to build out your Zoho circuits. One is going to be the builder view, wherein you can make use of the flow controls and the functional controls that you see at the left side over here. You can simply drag and drop it over here. You can specify what state it's going to be, the previous state is going, which state is going to be the previous state, and also the state in which it's going to end also. In case if you're not comfortable on this, not to worry, you will also be able to code on it with the help of a JSON coding area. And at the left side, you should be able to see different types of functional action nodes that you see over here. The previous node can be now set as new state 1, and it can be the state 1. I click on this. So that's how you start building your custom functions. Okay, now I have dragged and dropped down the function over here, but what custom function is working over here? I'll be able to select from the list of custom functions that has been added to this particular circuit configurations. And to add custom functions to this list, we might have to go to the circuit configurations. And under the circuit configurations, you should be able to add all these types of different types of configurations, be it a custom function or maybe a webhook, PowerShell scripts, also the bridges and the credentials. So these are all the custom functions that we were able to see it at the right side of the screen over here while building the custom circuits. And on top of the functional nodes, We will also have various types of actions that you would want to perform on your TB or maybe your task or maybe an SSH task also. And at the bottom, we also have some predefined set of circuit tasks that you can make use of. Since the onboarding, an employee onboarding scenario and performing actions on your AD is a widely used concept, we have given it as a predefined function marks wherein you can just drag and drop on it and you can start making use of them. Coming to this area where you can create your own functions, and the functions that you are going to create over here is not just going to be on the Deluge language. In case if you're proficient in Node.js or maybe Python or maybe Java also, you will be able to code it down over here so that you can make use of these functions on the on the server circuits. Adding on to that, if you have any webhooks that you need to configure on any cloud solution, if you want to connect, you can make sure that you create a new webhook over here and then make sure that this is being connected to any other cloud solution. The PowerShell scripts are nothing but the scripts that you would want to make use of on the circuits can be loaded down over here, and comes the bridges. The bridges are nothing but this is going to be the circuit bridge wherein it allows the ServiceDesk Plus Cloud application to connect with any other on-premise solution also. Now, for the last 10 minutes, we did see a lot of options, a lot of coding areas or the circuit configuration areas. We did see a lot of them. But we haven't seen that on the production environment. Right? Let's see how it is going to look like when an actual onboarding ticket is raised. Let's try creating an onboarding request. For that, I do have a specific template, and then I can search for that template, employee onboarding, service catalog. All right, then it's taking up a minute to load. On the template, I got the employee onboarding folder, and I do have this template. So now let's try creating a request. Let me give the first name as Dave and the last name as Wright, and maybe the full name as Dave Wright. And then I do not have an AD email address for him right now, but I do have the personal email address. It's dave@gmail.com. And the onboarding location can be USA, and I can select he is a permanent employee, and I can also make sure that he is present on the clinical research department. And the onboarding date, I can select it as tomorrow. So if you want to do so much of AD tasks, create an account for him, assign him an email address, add him to specific groups, add him to Soho CRM, add him to Service Desk Plus. A lot of actions is going to take a lot of time if there was a manual intervention. And in case if you get a request to create all of these within a day, it's not going to be feasible because it's a manual effort. You need a specific technician to sit and work on. But Soho Circuit is there to help us out on this. Employee onboarding, and I go ahead and click on add request. And now the request is added now. So once the request is added, now let us go back to the history of this request and see what has happened on this request. We are able to see that a circuit is being invoked for this particular request. Where is that execution? Let's see where it is being executed. Let me duplicate this tab, and then when I click on setup under circuits, and here I should see the execution logs. Under the execution logs, you see that this is currently running. Let's see how it is on the preview area. So we were able to see that all the green areas are the users, that are the actions that has been done by this particular Zoho circuit on this particular request. The first one was to create an MS365 account and update the email ID on the request. We are able to see the particular user's email address. It has Zoho Circuit has gone to the AD, created a 365 account, and also created an email address. Also, it appended that particular email address on the request. So you can see that Dave Wright at My Service Desk Plus is the domain for this instance, and it has been dropped on over here also. The user was also added to the security group permanent USA, and that can also be seen at the set of this particular area. So now Zoho Circuit is still running on it, and it has currently checked if the user was on an R&D department. It did see it, and he added that particular user on that particular on the database. It did also assign an asset to the user. It created a user profile in ServiceDesk Plus also, and we are still waiting for it to give it a note on what are all the data that was done for this particular request. And if you would like to view the code that is being used for this particular execution, you should be able to see it at the top, and you should also be able to see the logs that were done for this particular request. And that's how the Zoho circuits take into place. Let me quickly check if the note has been added upon. Okay, I did see some of the notifications. And that is how it is going to look like once the particular circuit is completed. It is going to add a note stating all the notifications, all the areas in which the Zoho circuit went ahead and performed the actions on. It created the AD tasks that were done. It added a user in AD. It added the user to the AD group. It created a Microsoft 365 account. A Zoho CRM account was created. MDM account and a shared access was also given to this particular request. So that is how the Zoho circuit can make use of the technicians' lives easier, so that a lot of automations can be done without manual intervention. And with that, we come to the end of the session. Before we could wind up, a quick recap of what we did see on this particular session is that we defined service and managed end user expectations by creating service level agreements. We did also go upon and created business rules that also helped on updating various ticketing parameters, and there were a lot of automations, be it the notifications to notify specific stakeholders, or maybe making use of the closure rules also. We were able to do it. We did also see on how Zilka can efficiently manage their technicians workload and resource management, and we did also see the power of custom functions and also the single touch automation workflow with Zoho Circuit. So that is how the automations are done in ServiceDesk Plus Cloud. Just to let you know that we, on the email that we'll be sharing, you can also make use of the support portals, the admin guides, the release notes, product videos, and the community page also, so that you can write out to us, or maybe raise any questions, or maybe any feature requests. We'll be very, very happy to help you out on it. And once again, thank you so much for joining the session today, everyone. Have a great day and a great week ahead. Bye-bye.